Hey guys, welcome back. So, this video is going to be something a little bit different. This one's going to be all about metal. And the reason for this video is basically a few weeks ago now, I was talking to a guy on Twitter called Matthew Bradley. His Twitter handle's YouFoundMe1983. And in recent videos I've talked about a couple of bands that I really like, such as Killswitch Engage and Snake River Conspiracy. And Matt tweeted me saying that I'd reminded him of these classic albums, and he'd been listening to them, which I thought was absolutely brilliant, you know, because they are really great albums. And he asked me if I'd put a video together and just talk about the old albums that I've got, and just to try and jog his memory, really, to try and think of any more albums he hasn't listened to in a while. So if you're into metal, brilliant. If you're not, totally understand. But it's going to be quite a long video because I've gone through all my CDs this morning, and yeah, I've got a lot more actually than I thought I had. I didn't realise how many metal CDs I've actually got. I mean, I've got a lot of music CDs full stop because I used to buy music all the time. It was my big thing when I was growing up. So we're going to start with Limp Bizkit, as you can see there. We've got Significant Other and Chocolate Starfish. The reason I got those out, first of all, because I want to just basically tell you the story of my history with metal. And I've mentioned this before. If you've never seen my channel, this would be new news. So back when I was a teenager in the 90s, about 92, I got into hip hop due to Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album, and then I got into Tupac, Biggie Smalls, and I was more of a West Coast guy than anything else, but I did like Biggie Smalls and Puff Daddy and all the bad boy crew. Then as time progressed, in 1999 was when my taste started changing a little bit more, and I became aware of bands such as Limp Bizkit. And because Limp Bizkit crossed over between hip hop and rock, it got me more into it. Now, growing up as a small child before my teenage years, I did like bands like Sepultura, and I'm pretty sure that was when I was really young. And because I was into Guns N' Roses when I was a kid back in the 80s, but I was sort of like all over the shop. I didn't have a defined taste in music. I was literally just listening to anything, mostly pop music like Kylie and Madonna and Michael Jackson, like most kids. But I also liked to dabble in different types of music. And the only way I would ever find out about this music was by seeing it on Top of the Pops. And I think because Sepultura had that Roots Bloody Roots song, which was like massive at the time, and that was the one that really made me think, man, that's a really cool group, I like them. Guns N' Roses obviously had loads of great hits. And so it was only when my teenage years rolled around that I actually started defining my musical tastes, and obviously I spent a lot of time listening to hip hop and R&B. I was a lot more into the R&B stuff, but I still listened to a hell of a lot of hip hop because all my friends were more into hip hop than R&B. And then in '99, became aware of Limp Bizkit through MTV, and Nookie was a song that did it for me. I mean, that was just such a great tune at the time. When that came out and I heard that, and I was like, I've got to check this band out. And I was still on the precipice of actually making that leap because I didn't really think that I could actually get into the scene. I had a friend and she was like hardcore metalhead and had been like since birth basically. And I could never really get it. I used to go to clubs with her in town on occasion, and I just didn't fit in. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't like the scene. I was really didn't like it at all. I didn't want to be there. And it was really strange because obviously then in my 20s everything changed, and I used to live in the rock scene. I was just like in every pub, club, pretty much every weekend as much as I could be, you know, depending on money. I was just there and I was just loving it. And so when Limp Bizkit came around, I say they were the really great band at the time because they were the transition between hip hop and metal. You know, had the whole rap rock thing going on at the time, which was fantastic for me because it gave me a gateway into the scene. And you know, obviously a lot of like hardcore metalheads probably don't like the rap rock thing. I totally understand that. And with metal, there are so many different genres and sub-genres that, you know, you're always going to have issues like that. But I just like metal, whether it be rap rock or it be the harder stuff or whatever, or somewhere in the middle. So yeah, so I started off with Limp Bizkit anyway. Significant Other with Nookie, brilliant album. And Chocolate Starfish, great album. Bit more immature though. Fred Durst is quite childish anyway. When you listen to his lyrics, he just does a lot of swearing and a lot of sexual innuendo and very like teenage kind of stuff. But they're good albums. They're fun party albums and they're great to dance to as well. As I found out quite a lot, because they party quite a lot to these in the clubs. So yeah, so after Limp Bizkit, the next band that really pushed me to get into the scene was this band here, The Mighty Knot. Yeah, that album is fantastic. I basically saw a literally probably 30-second clip maximum on MTV News, and they were talking to Slipknot doing an interview, and they were showing like a bit of footage from one of their gigs, and I was just like captivated. I was like, who the hell is this band? I was like, that looks so good. And I just thought it sounded amazing because, as I say, when I was really young, I liked the Sepultura song Roots Bloody Roots, and so to hear Slipknot, and it was like proper, to me that was like proper metal. That was like hardcore compared to Limp Bizkit. You know, this was like rock. It was not rap or anything like that. Even though they got a DJ and it was sort of rap rock in a way, but it sort of wasn't because they got away from that really. But yeah, I just loved them, and I just took the risk because I used to go to HMV pretty much every lunchtime, and I just like buy albums by the bucket load of just like whenever they got deals on, like 2 for 20, 3 for 20, whatever they had on, I would just stack them up. And I remember the one day I went into the HMV in Solihull, and I just bought like Limp Bizkit's album, Slipknot's album, and a couple of other albums like R&B albums, and I just put like a whole mash of different styles. I just thought, I'm just going to give them a shot. And when I got this first album, it was just amazing. I just put it on and I just kept playing it and playing it and playing it and playing it, and I just couldn't get fed up with it. And if you've listened to it, you know, if you're not a fan of the music, it could probably drive you nuts. I mean, I'm sure I drove my parents nuts with it, but I absolutely adored the album. It was fantastic. And I've got Iowa. Now, for some reason, these are the only two I've actually got on physical CD. I mean, the other albums I've got on digital, which is pretty bad, really. I need to get the CDs for those, which I will do eventually, because I need to make an effort there. But yeah, I absolutely love the band. I think they're absolutely awesome. I've seen them a couple of times live. I've seen them at the NEC in Birmingham. Notorious gig because they got banned from the NEC after that. But it was an absolutely amazing night. I was really into the scene at the point when I went to see them, so I made the effort. I got dressed in the boiler suit. I put the it was around the time of Iowa, so I put all the insignia on the boiler suit. I got myself a mask. I did everything, man. I was really into it and I loved it. And that was such a fantastic night. Brilliant gig. On the floor, right up against the stage. It was just absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah, that was a really good night. And then I saw them at Download, I think twice. I'm pretty sure it was twice. Which was good, but it's never as good as the NEC experience, because the NEC is like really up close arena gig, and there's just nothing better than seeing a metal band like that. It's just, you know, awesome. As much as I like the Download festival, and festival vibe is really cool, to see them in such a small environment, so much better. But yeah, that one, fantastic. Iowa, great album. I personally think that one's a better album. That's just my personal choice. Okay, so I'm just going to go through them. I've got them in piles and there's no particular order. I just wanted to start off with those two bands just to give you an idea of where I started with the genre and how I got into metal. So after that, there's also a band that are similar to Slipknot, and there was a lot of controversy about it at the time. I remember rightly from people saying that Slipknot had ripped off their outfits and everything, their style. And that band called Mushroomhead, and their musical style is different to Slipknot's. I'm trying to think. It's been so long since I listened to this stuff. I saw Mushroomhead at Download as well, which was just brilliant. I was so chuffed to see them because they weren't really getting much credibility at the time. A lot of people didn't really like them, but I actually thought they were fantastic, and I was a big fan of them as well. And yeah, I mean, that album's really good. I don't remember much about that one. I need to listen to that again. And in fact, I can't even remember the names of the songs. It's been that bleeding long. Oh yeah, like Bromp. That was the big one. That was a fantastic tune. I definitely recommend giving this a shot if you've never listened to it. It's really hard to explain the kind of style that they do. It's really good though. I mean, that's all I can say is really good. But yeah, Mushroomhead, great album. I can't remember, but good group. Okay, so right, I'm not too sure which way to go. I'm just going to go through the pile. Sod it. So next up, we've got a British band, which is Skunk Anansie, and you can't see it because of the bloody glare. I do apologise. I'm trying to get the lighting right, but it's really difficult. And you've got Paranoid and Sunburnt, Stoosh, and then we've got Post Orgasmic Chill. Absolutely brilliant band. I've always been a massive fan of Skunk Anansie. Skin, the lead singer, is just mental, and she's really sweet, and she's just such a great stage presence. And yeah, I mean, 3 really great albums. I mean, that's more of a raw rock album. That one is more experimental and more interesting, I find, and there's some nice ballads on that album as well. And then that one goes back to more the rock style from what I can remember, because it has songs like Charlie Big Potato, which was really good. Yeah, if you want to listen to British rock, check them out, because Skunk Anansie, absolutely one of the best we've ever made, I think. Great band. Okay, next up we've got so we've got an album by Powerman 5000, Tonight the Stars Revolt. I don't even know what the hell you class their style as. If you want to know who they are, there's a song on this album called When Worlds Collide, and if you play Tony Hawk's 2 on the PS1, it's on there on the soundtrack. You can't miss it. It's sort of like an industrial type sound, I suppose you could call it. I don't know if that's the correct term, but that's what it sounds like to me anyway. They're alright, they're a decent band at the time. I only bought them because really the Tony Hawk's soundtrack, the Worlds Collide song was really good, and I gave the band a try. And the album wasn't that bad actually. Okay, they've got something really mellow and quite, you have to be in the mood for this, but a band called Stained. Now, Break the Cycle was the first album, which was fantastic. I'm trying to think what the breakout song was called now. Let me have a look. Yeah, it's been so long since I've listened to all these albums. Outside, that was the one. It's a brilliant song, which I believe he did with Fred Durst, if I remember rightly, because the guy who's the lead singer was a friend of Fred Durst. And I don't know if he's on Fred Durst's label, I can't remember. That album, I don't remember much about that one at all, but Break the Cycle, I played that to death. It's quite depressing, and it's not an album that you can listen to all the time. You have to really be in the mood for it. Yeah, but it's a good album, definitely worth listening to, if you like the more mellow stuff anyway. Okay, then we got one of my favourite albums, Mudvayne LD50. Mudvayne are absolutely amazing. I remember when they first came out and I saw them on TV. I think it was on MTV2 at the time I used to watch their videos. And they basically wear like loads of paint, and they've got like massive long, look, I think they're extensions anyway, on their beards on their chin. Big long blue beards, blue hair, crazy outfits like dungarees and shit like that, and tons of makeup. And they're just completely mental and not arty. But the music is really, really cool and really interesting, especially into the lyrics as well. They're quite intelligent, and it's just a really, really good sound. As I say, one of my favourite albums of all time. I've listened to it so much, and I used to like sort of model myself a little bit on Mudvayne back in the day. And I used to have the nail polish and the beards, and I didn't really go for the full makeup effect because I just really couldn't be bothered doing all that. But I used to do the hair and the beard and the piercings and the nail polish, as I say. I used to just go full on back then. And this is one of my favourite bands. If you've never listened to Mudvayne, just check that album out, LD50. Absolute classic. This next one's a bit generic, standard rock. The band's called Boiler Room. It's a good album. It wasn't a brilliant album. It was just a good album that I used to just listen to now and again. Pretty decent. I can hear the music in my head. It's pretty generic, as I say. It's not nothing that's going to be outstanding, but then again, it is a decent album. It's well worth listening to. Just don't remember too much about it, to be honest. Next up is the band I was talking about recently on one of my videos, Snake River Conspiracy and Sonic Jihad. This is an amazing album. I don't really know what the actual genre that this comes under, but I just put it in the metal genre because this is what I was listening to at the time. Because there's a lot of like dance beats, I suppose, in the way they've done their music. It's a bit of a mishmash of different styles, but there's some absolutely great songs. And the one tune they've got on here, How Soon Is Now, I think that's the right one, which was a cover of the Smiths, I believe. And for me, it's far superior to Morrissey's version anyway. It's just an absolutely brilliant tune. And the whole album is just really interesting. And if you want something a little different in your musical taste, give Sonic Jihad a blast, because it's a really great album. And Toby Torres, the singer, she's really hot. And I've got, what's this one called? Oh yeah. Distillers, Sing Sing Death House. Another great album. It's a punk album. Brody, the singer, depends on how you look at it. I personally think she's really hot. You know, it depends on your taste, I suppose, but it's a really, really, really good album. And yeah, absolutely brilliant. It's really fast, really punky. Just a top quality album. Definitely worth checking out Distillers. I can't speak. Right, we've got the next band is a Dima. And I don't remember too much. All I can remember, I'm pretty sure it's something to do with Korn. I can't remember if like the singer's like Jonathan Davis' brother or something. I can't really remember. Yeah, they're alright. They weren't particularly mind blowing, I didn't think at the time. But I must have liked them to buy the album, to be honest. But yeah, I'd probably say pass on that one. It isn't that great an album. Next up, just getting. Okay, so we've got a few albums. We've got another great band here at Korn. So we've got Follow the Leader, which is the classic Korn album. It's just an absolutely fantastic album. Very rap rock indeed. I mean, there's a lot of it on this, but some absolutely great tunes on there. Just try and pick the best ones. I mean, I don't even know where you start. It's that good. Freak on the Leash is like the one that Korn are probably most known for outside of metal circles. Brilliant video, brilliant song, brilliant album. I've got a few more of the albums as well. I've got Life is Peachy. Is that just Korn? Yeah, that's just self-titled. Oh yeah, Untouchables, which is a really good album. I really enjoyed that one. And then Issues, which is an absolutely fantastic album as well. So yeah, I love Korn. Definitely, if you're going to get into metal, check out Korn, because they're just an absolutely fantastic band. Right, so I'll whip through a couple of these because there's quite a lot. So we've got, next one is Anthrax, what's it called? We've Come For You All. I mean, I know a lot of people like Anthrax, and I think they're alright. They're not really my type of music. I think what I would have bought this album for would be because I heard one song that I liked and I thought, I'll buy the album, because I used to do that. And look, it's still got the original sticker. I didn't realise that. $14.99 at HMV. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, Anthrax are a good band. They're just not my type, really. So I've never really listened to the album all that much. I listened to it when I first got it, and that was about it, really. Right. Next up, another British band. I think they're Irish, I'm not too sure. 1 Minute Silence. That album, I don't remember too much about. That one, I've milked the hell out of that. I've played it to death. It's just one of the greatest albums I've ever listened to, and without doubt worth listening to. It's called Buy Now Saved Later. It's absolutely brilliant. If you've never heard 1 Minute Silence, check them out, because you will not be disappointed. Absolutely awesome group. Okay, and right, now this was an interesting one. This surprised people, I think, to be quite honest, and more so because it's actually a better album than people would expect it to be. And it is Vanilla Ice, Hard to Swallow. This is when Ice came back from all his depression and all his bad times and got into rock. And I've got to be honest, this is a really good album. I imported this, if I remember rightly, and it's much better. I mean, I know Vanilla Ice gets a lot of shit thrown at him and everything. I understand all that. To be fair, I actually liked Vanilla Ice as a kid. I don't really care. I'm not one of these people that always a guilty pleasure. I just like him. If I like someone's music, I like their music. I'm not one of these twats that's going to go, oh no, it's a guilty pleasure, and I can't really like that because, you know, it's embarrassing. Why get embarrassed about what you like? Seems stupid to me, but hey. But yeah, Hard to Swallow is a really decent album. Stomping Through the Bayou is one of my favourite songs on this. It's a really great track. So I wouldn't dismiss this. Give it a shot. Next up is a band that I, at the time, loved. Got a lot of shit thrown at them because they're quite misogynistic and they're not, as far as I understand, a bit of a bunch of dicks. But I like the album, and that's Crazy Town, The Gift of the Game. The Gift of Game? The Gift of Game. Great cover as well. I mean, that's just wicked, those. Very rap rock, there's no doubt about it. That's what they were going for. You know, it is misogynistic in some of the lyrics, so that's not the best thing in the world. But, you know, I'm not a person for taking music lyrics seriously because, quite frankly, life's too short. It's a really, really fun album. It's a good party album. Definitely, you know, give it a blast. And we've got, I believe these are a British band as well. A band called Sponge, which at the time was, this kind of music was ska, but it's not really ska. I mean, it's not like, you know, your two-tone ska, like your classic ska. This is like the punk pop version of ska. You know, but that's no bad thing because this band were brilliant. I saw them live one night. It was at the Academy in Birmingham, which I don't think exists anymore. I'm pretty sure it's gone. And it was a Saturday night. We were all quite drunk. We got in the club, and then out of nowhere, at like around about midnight or something, Sponge just turned up on the stage and started playing, and we was all like, what the hell? I mean, there was no advertising that the gig was going to happen. They just appeared. It was so weird, but it really, you know, pepped us up. So I remember being that night really, really drunk, and I was a bit knackered by that time. I was starting to like flag and lose my energy, and then they came on stage and I got it back, and yeah, absolutely fantastic. Kicking Pigeons, that's the song. I was trying to think what their song was. That was a classic. Definitely check out Sponge. Brilliant band. Okay, next one. Right, so, you know, if you're going to like metal and rock, you got to like this band because they are one of the greatest bands ever. System of a Down, Toxicity. Without doubt, one of the top 10 albums of of like history, life ever. It's just phenomenal. I mean, there's so many good songs. In fact, pretty much every song on here is just a classic. Jet Pilot's one of my favourite. I love that. I love Prison Song. Chop Suey is a classic. Bounce is awesome. Forest is awesome. Science is amazing. Shimmy's just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, my God, I saw these live at the Academy, and it was the most packed gig I've ever been to. It was ridiculous. I mean, literally like sardines. I was like, to give you an idea, I was standing there like that. There was someone there, someone there, someone there, and someone there. You could not move. It was that rammed. It was just ridiculous. But it was like the best gig I've ever been to. It was phenomenal. Such a great band as well. Really good stage presence. And I had a lot of respect for the band as well, because there was a guy down the front who was giving some woman some shit, and one of the members of the band stopped the concert and just told the security to grab him, and they did, and they just chucked him out. And I thought that was really good of them. I really appreciated that. So awesome band. I've also got a few of their albums. Christ Almighty. Hypnotise, and I've got their self-titled album, which is, I can't remember which order these go in, to be quite honest with you. I mean, this one's got Sugar on it, so I think this was before Toxicity. Sugar's a brilliant song. Check out System of a Down, Sugar. That'll give you an idea. And they're absolutely amazing. Really, really great band. You have to listen to those. No matter what type of music you're into, give them a try, because they are just amazing. Okay, really chilled out. I love this album. Incubus, Make Yourself. Brilliant album. A very chilled out vibe. It's hard to explain the style of the music, but it's definitely an album that you have to give a try, because it's not hardcore metal or hardcore rock. It's just a really nice, like, it's more almost bluesy in a way. I suppose you could probably put it like that. I mean, that's probably a bit too far over, but yeah, it's got that real chilled out mellow vibe. And Brandon Boyd, the lead singer, has got such a great voice. Yeah, absolutely highly recommend this album. Make Yourself, Incubus. Great album. Next up, we've got American Head Charge, The War of Art. Now, I saw American Head Charge when I went to see Marilyn Manson. Was it Marilyn Manson? No, it wasn't. It was Slipknot. That's right. They supported Slipknot at the NEC. That was right. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely amazing. Really good live, actually. I was more surprised how good they were live. I've got no idea if they're still around. I haven't followed the scene for a long time, unfortunately. I'm really out of the loop. But at the time, these were a really decent band. I mean, I don't know if I remember any of the songs off there. Christ knows, but I'm just trying to see if any of them stand out for me. But the actual album, it was really good, and they were a decent band at the time, I thought. Quite hard. Yeah, I can't remember any of the song names, to be honest. I'm pretty useless with song names, unless it's something that really sticks out. I don't tend to remember it. Okay, next up, is an absolutely amazing band, and it is the one and only Marilyn Manson. So we've got Smells Like Children, I've got Antichrist Superstar, which was the first album of his I bought. I absolutely love that album. Beautiful People was the song that got me into Manson, and I was so glad he did, because Manson's amazing. Trying to remember the order. I think this was next. Mechanical Animals, which was a bit weird, and he was doing the androgyny thing, and he went off on one with that. Good album though. Then we got one of my favourite albums, Hollywood, which was, I saw him do this at the NEC, the Hollywood tour, and I'm trying to think, he was supported by Godhead and Disturbed, which just blew my mind, because I was such a massive Disturbed fan, and that was just, to see them live was just one of the best things ever, man. Oh, that was such a good night. And Manson, he really does give one of the best shows you'll ever see. There's so much theatrics. He really does go for it, and he's got an amazing stage presence. The whole band was just phenomenal, and yeah, Twiggy just looked awesome. It was just, that was a great night. And that album is just an absolute classic. And then the next one I've got, The Golden Age of Grotesque, which is when he was in his burlesque stage, when he was featured on Dieter Von Teese. I can't get it out. Yeah, great album. Every Manson album's great, and I like Manson because he changes everything he does on every album. He always tries something fresh and different, and no matter what people think of Manson personally, you've got the whole negative side, but musically the man is a genius, and he just makes great albums, great songs. I love the fact that he does so much with his presentation and makes a real effort. Fantastic artist. And speaking of Disturbed, got 2 albums here, which is, I believe, The Sickness, and The Sickness and Believe. Sickness is one of the greatest albums I've ever heard. Amazing album, fantastic. I mean, so many amazing songs. And I was trying to think of the main one that was the big one at the time. Stupefy, that was it. Stupefy is a great song. Check out Stupefy by Disturbed. It'll blow your mind. It's just... was it Dave Draymond, I think his name was? I think that's the name of the lead singer. His voice, his vocal talent is just unreal. Some of the noises that he makes, he just blows. You're like, what the hell, man? And it's just such a cool, commanding performance that he gives. I've got a DVD of one of their gigs, and man, the geezer's amazing. As I saw him at the Manson gig, and at the time he was doing this thing where he sits in an electric chair and gets fried, which was really cool. It's just, I love this band to bits. Believe's a really good album. It's a hell of a lot more mellow than that one. That's a lot harder. This one's a lot more mainstream. But it's a really good album as well. Well worth listening to. I've got other albums of theirs as well, the one after this one, but it's on digital, unfortunately. So I say I need to buy a lot of CDs back, but unfortunately there's also space limitation as well because I've got so many CDs now. So I've got the Rollins band, how you want to say it, Get Some, Go Again. I don't know, I just picked this up on a random. Henry Rollins is someone I admire. I'm just not a massive fan of his music. I like his spoken word stuff, and that's pretty damn cool. But this is a pretty decent album from what I can remember. There's some good tunes on this. And another guy who's got an amazing stage presence. I mean, he just commands the stage. You know, it makes you look at him, sit up and take notice. So yeah, it's definitely, I'd give this one a try. I've not listened to it for years, but I know it was a good album. So we got a band called Cold, and the album's called 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage. These were another offshoot from Fred Durst, and these were really cool. Really mellow, quite in depth and deep and dark with the lyrics, and it's a really good album. It's not an easy one to get into. I don't think that most people probably would. It depends if you like this style or not. It's not an easily accessible album at all, but a very good one. We got POD, Satellite. Now these are a Christian rock band, which usually puts people right off straight away, and they did get a lot of shit at the time. What was the big song? Alive. That was it. Alive was a really good song. I like that. So check out POD, Alive. I actually liked the album. I thought it was decent. I don't care that they're Christian rock, because at the end of the day, if it's good music, it's good music, and it was. So we got Head PE, Planet Earth. I've also seen these live at the NEC. No, not the NEC, the Academy. I think it was when they were supporting Papa Roach, if I remember rightly. I'm pretty sure it was. These were really good live. They actually surprised me quite a lot. I weren't sure what to expect, but they were absolutely brilliant. And the one song that really stood out, Killing Time was the one, wasn't it? Yeah, that was the big tune at the time. And Bartender's the one. I remember seeing them do Bartender when they supported Papa Roach, and that was excellent. Even though the lead singer's like pants kept falling down, which cracked me up. He just couldn't hold them up for some reason. Brilliant band though, check them out, really good. So the next one needs no explanation whatsoever because everybody knows who they are and how brilliant they are. So we're talking Nirvana. I mean, you don't go wrong with Nirvana. Never mind, phenomenal album. In Utero, amazing. Incesticide, amazing. And you just literally cannot go wrong with any Nirvana music because they are just phenomenal. So many great songs. Kurt Cobain is just an absolute god. Yeah, amazing. So if you don't know Nirvana, there's something wrong with you. Go and listen to them because there's certain bands that you must listen to before you die, I believe, and that's definitely one of them. Right, next up we got Metallica's Black Album. It was a classic album. We also got Saint Anger as well. So I haven't got a lot of Metallica on CD, unfortunately. Most of it's on digital, which is pretty bad because I'm not a digital guy, but as I say, I've got so many CDs, I just ain't got the space, unfortunately, anymore. So, and also if I start going back and buying all the CDs that I need, yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, I love Saint Anger, absolutely awesome, real hardcore, great shit. Black Album, yeah, well, I mean, it's like the classic Metallica. You just really can't fault that album whatsoever. Just remember the name of the song that I absolutely love, because where's it gone? It is on this album, isn't it? No, I thought it was, but it might not be. I mean, obviously you got like Into Sandman, Sad But True, Holier Than Thou, The Unforgiven, which is an absolutely amazing song. I mean, the Black Album is just classic. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the song I was thinking of, but it doesn't matter. And Saint Anger is just fantastic as well. I think a lot of people didn't like Saint Anger at the time, if I remember rightly. But personally, I really enjoyed it. But I'm not a hardcore Metallica fan. I'm more of a casual fan. So that's maybe why. Next one. We've got Through the Ashes of Empires by Machine Head. Now, Machine Head were a band I was never into. They're, as far as I'm aware, they started off as a rap rock band and then they developed. But the reason I got into them, I used to work with a guy called Chris, who was like a hardcore Machine Head fan. He just absolutely adored the band. And so he gave me some of their albums to try out, and I was like, yeah, that's actually pretty good. So I went and bought them myself. I've got this one. I think the other ones I've got, I'm not too sure. I think they're digital copies, which is a bit of a shame, but there you go. Yeah, I don't remember what this one's like, but it's bound to be brilliant because every album I've ever heard of Machine Head's has been absolutely fantastic. Really good, real raw, great albums, great bands. Machine Head, definitely one to check out. Next up is a band that at the time a lot of people used to give me shit about, but I don't care because I absolutely love them. And it's only because they're female that they used to get so much grief, which I always thought was really stupid, but there you go. And that is a Canadian band called Kitty. I love Kitty. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. They're a brilliant band. Spit is a fantastic album. It's very raw. You know, you can tell it's their first album, but it's a really good one. Oracle, and then I can't even read what that says there. What is that song? Until It Ends in it. Yeah, Until the End are a lot more polished, a lot more developed as a band. They're definitely improved actually, because on that one, it's sort of like you can hear like elements of Korn and that rap rock style coming through, and they're trying to define themselves and make themselves as the band. Oracle, they went the opposite end and went lots of screamo and really hardcore, and then Until the End is even better because then they started bringing it down a notch and it's sort of middle ground, and you can really hear that they found themselves as a band. And I think the lineup had changed quite a lot at that point because Fallon had left. I'm trying to think. I know Morgan and the sister, whose name I can't bloody remember, was still there, and the girl with the red hair, I've forgotten her name as well, she left as well. So I think Fallon left, she left, those two stayed, and then they brought two other members in, if I remember rightly, which is, I'm pretty sure on both of these albums those two aren't. Yeah, she was my favourite. But great albums, great bands, love Kitty to bits, and I really don't care if anyone doesn't like them because I think they're fantastic. So. Next up, really cool reggae rock band, Skindred, and Babylon's the album. Brilliant album, I played it to death. One of the albums I used to just loop it over and over and over. Great album. If you've never heard of Skindred, you need to just check them out because they're just amazing. Obviously it depends if you like reggae or not, which I do. I love reggae, so you know, it's all good. So if you mix reggae and rock together, you get a fantastic band, and they're just awesome. And let me see some of my favourite songs. You've got Set It Off, which is brilliant. Pressure, which is a really great song. And also we got Babylon, which is just a fantastic tune. I mean, to be honest, every single song on the album is just brilliant. So I highly recommend it, and that's what they look like as well. So great band. I don't remember much about this one. I just know it was a really good album at the time, but I've not listened to it for years, so I can't really give you much information on this. But the band's called Dry Kill Logic, and the album's The Darker Side of Nonsense, and that's what they look like there. I just remember it was a really, really good, solid album at the time, so I would definitely give it a try. I mean, you look at the style there; it's not the rap rock thing with, you know, the braids and the piercings and the beards and everything, but they're a great band. I really enjoyed the album at the time. Yeah, give it a shot. Next up, one of my favourite artists of all time. No, actually, I've just found a Limp Bizkit album which I didn't realise was in here. $3 Bill Y'all. I wasn't that impressed with this one, so there you go. But I still like Limp Bizkit. Anyway, one of my favourite artists of any genre of music is Kid Rock. I'm a massive Kid Rock fan. So it's just, I mean, this is Devil Without a Cause, which is an amazing album. I mean, there's so many great tunes on this album. It's just, yeah, very rap rock, but in a really good way, really well done. His whole style is just fantastic. I've also got American Badass, that's the song, The History of Rock. I'm a dickhead. And then we've got Cocky as well. And I believe I've got 2 more albums on digital as well. He's gone a lot more towards like the Leonard Skinner style, and he's a lot more rock now than he was back in the day. Because he started out as a rapper as far as I'm aware, and then he developed into a rock star. And Kid Rock is just awesome, absolutely fantastic. One of my favourite artists of all time, without doubt. I love him to bits, he's brilliant. I've always wanted to see him live, but I've never had the opportunity. Because every time I wanted to see him, he'd only ever come and play one gig in London. And I wasn't going to travel to London just to see a gig, which is a shame. And I think, I don't know if he ever done Download or not, I'm not too sure. I don't think he has. I don't think he did Ozfest either. But anyway, yeah, he needs to come over and do a gig because I want to go and see him because he's amazing. Okay, next up, is Hoobastank, and is it just self-titled? Yeah, it's self-titled album. So these, I can't remember if he's the cousin or the brother of Brandon Boyd, the lead singer of Incubus. But they're a good band. I saw these at the Academy as well. Really great band. Crawling in the Dark is the one they're famous for. Really good poppy rock song, and yeah, great album. So then we got Puddle of Mud Come Clean, which is another band that were under the influence of Fred Durst. Really good album. I really liked this band at the time. They were a lot more mellow. They were sort of like a bit heavier than Stained, but still quite mellow in their style, and you know, quite middle of the road, but in a good way. It was a really, really fun album, so definitely give them a shot. Okay, so everyone should know who this is. I've got Linkin Park, so I've got Hybrid Theory, and I've got Meteora. And the only reason I've got no more albums of theirs is because Hybrid Theory, I loved it at the time. It was really screamy and just fun, and just a really great album. Meteora was a pile of shit, so I hated that album. I remember sitting in the pub the one night having a debate with someone about it, who told me that Meteora was a better album. I was like, it bloody isn't, it's a crap album. It was nowhere near as good as Hybrid Theory. And from what I've heard over the years, they haven't gotten any better, so yeah, they've gone down the toilet, but they used to be really good on the first album, which is a shame. Next up, everyone knows these, Green Day, can't go on with that. Dookie, classic. Warning, brilliant album. You know, punk rock, fantastic, can't go wrong. And who was it? It was Skunkworks that mentioned this band to me the other day. Alien Ant Farm. I love these. They're a really cool, fun pop band. They're not, I mean, I wouldn't class them as a rock band at all. There's a lot of this poppy rock stuff at the time. And what's this album called? Anthology. It's a really great one. They're most famous for doing a cover of Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal, which is an absolutely awesome cover. But they're a really good band in their own right, and I definitely recommend checking that album out. Next up is a band I was never into. I only bought this for one song, I believe. And I just give them a try because I wanted to see what they were like. And yeah, I can't even remember what the bloody song was looking at the titles. But everybody at the time who I knew was really a big fan of this band, and it never did it for me. And it's a Deftones White Pony. It's a good album, it's just not a great album. I found it kind of boring, to be quite honest with you. Their style's quite drony and just, yeah, it's not really my kind of style, but I gave it a shot nonetheless. So then we've got Band of Love, She's Good Charlotte, and Young and the Hopeless. I played this album ridiculous amounts of time. I still got my MP3 player just playing over and over and over and over for like weeks, months, years. It was ridiculous. I just absolutely love that album. They're a bit of a, I was going to say a bit of a joke because, you know, the way they look and everything, but who gives a shit? The music's good, the music's fun. You know, I mean, some of it's a little bit depressing, but it is a really good album. So something a bit more cheerful. Less Than Jake are absolutely amazing. These are like Sponge in the sense that they're classed, I suppose, as ska, but it really isn't. It's more of a pop version of ska than anything. It's definitely not your two-tone. We got Hello Rockview and we got Borders and Boundaries. Borders and Boundaries was okay. Hello Rockview was fantastic. I'm just trying to remember the names of all the songs that I really loved on that. It's just a double album as well, so I think, was it CD2 was the better one, I think it was, wasn't it? Yes, you got like How's My Driving, Doug Hastings, Johnny Crespin's For a Sellout. It's two great songs I love. Just Like Frank, which was brilliant. Really, really, really fun album. Really upbeat, cheerful. The kind of thing you need to have in your life. So I'd just get Hello Rockview, never mind Borders and Boundaries. So then we've got El Nino, Revolution. They are basically a Hispanic rock band with a really cool Hispanic vibe to their style, and they use like drums and like, well, obviously use drums because they're a rock band, but I mean like traditional like hand drums, you know, and that kind of thing. I can't think what the bloody word is. But yeah, great album, well worth checking out. I saw those at Download one time, and I think it was early in the morning as well, and they were really going for it because in the time of day, I think it was about 10 o'clock or something. Brilliant. Next up is a brilliant album, a band called Mantis, and the album's called Sleep in Your Grave. These guys were on a TV show on MTV, which was the Road to Oz Fest, from what I can remember. I believe they came second. I don't think they actually won. I'm not certain on that, so don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure they came second in the competition. So it was like an X Factor pop idol kind of thing, or American Idol for metal bands, which is a bit weird. But it was all done properly, you know, by Ozzy and Sharon, so it was all good. But the album is absolutely fantastic. Got a really cool, fast, intricate style, and I definitely recommend this album. The Cult's Beyond Good and Evil. I have no idea why I bought this because I'm never a fan of the Cult. I must have liked one song at the time. So yeah, it might be good, I don't know. So I've got Sum 41, All Killer No Filler, pop punk band. I mean, they were quite young at the time, and the lead singer is married to Avril Lavigne now. Really great band. I loved these at the time because I used to just like go mental when I was drunk and just dive around the dance floor, and they're just brilliant. So, Static X, Machine. Static X are amazing. Yeah, they're a bit mental, and like the lead singer, I think his name was Wayne, got like massive long black beard and really tall black hair, and they're all dressed in black. And there's just really, Machine sums it up. It's very mechanical, their style. It's really, really cool. It's like an industrial sound. Brilliant, brilliant album. One of my absolute all-time favourite bands. I love this band to bits, and that is Nightwish. So we got Angels Fall First, Ocean Born, and Century Child. All brilliant albums. Every album that Nightwish put out is brilliant. Although, to be quite honest, I can't remember how you pronounce her name correctly, so I won't try. But the lead singer, when she left the band and the new singer came in, I didn't think it was as good. I mean, the music was still spot on, the band was spot on, but the vocals just didn't fit. Not for me anyway. On these albums, it's much better. This is my favourite album. I absolutely love this. Angels Fall First is an amazing album. So, like, my favourite song, I'm just going to try and find it now. You know, I'm actually thinking, am I missing an album here? I'll stop bashing the bloody camera, be honest with it. I'm missing an album. Hang on. I have an album missing. Where's that gone? Bear with me 1 second. You know, I'm not too sure where that's gone. Ah, I know where it is. I just realised I've got the albums wrong. It's not that one. It's the other one. I can't remember what the other album's called. It's in my car. I left it in the bloody glove box. Yeah, the other album I've got of theirs is the best one. That's right. And I left it. That's an import. I didn't realise that. Oh, I can't remember what the album was called now. But anyway, Nightwish, amazing band. I don't know what I wouldn't call them goth. I'm not too sure what you call it. It's operatic rock, really, is probably the right style because of the style of her voice. I've got their gig on DVD and it's just fantastic. I'd love to see them live because they're such a good band. Obviously now the singer's not there anymore, so it's pretty pointless really, but if I go back in time I'd watch them then. But yeah, definitely check out Nightwish if you like something a little different and you like your opera rock. It's just fantastic. That probably doesn't sell them at all because they're so much better than what I've just said. Yeah, I can't believe that. I left it in the bloody glove box. So I took it out to the car a few weeks back. I forgot about that. Alright, next one. And I can't remember what the name of the album was, which is really annoying. Oh well. So we've got, next one is Arch Enemy, Wages of Sin. I don't remember much about it. I just know there's a female singer who's a bit mental and they're extremely hardcore. But it was an alright album. It's pretty good. It's just a lot of screaming. There's Nothing Left to Lose by Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters, if you don't know, Dave Grohl, the lead singer, used to be drummer for Nirvana. Brilliant band. Made some really great songs. Very commercial pop rock. I hate to say pop because I'll probably get slagged off for that, but they are, you know, mainstream rock music, but they're a really good album. Really good band even. So then we got Spine Shank, The Height of Callousness, which I'm not entirely sure what kind of style that was. I think it was the rap rocky style, but a bit more rock. But it was a good album. Anyway, I remember that. So we got the album I keep banging on about, Killswitch Engage, Alive or Just Breathing. Absolutely one of the finest albums ever made. Definitely one of my favourite, if not favourite, metal albums. It's just phenomenal. I don't know how to explain how good. I mean, I'm not a musician, but the style of their music, the way they play together, especially the singer that was on this album, his vocals just blend perfectly with the rest of the band, and the energy that you get from listening to this album, it just builds up and builds up and builds up this crescendo, and it's just such a release, and it's hard to explain, but you just feel it in your heart, man. It just gets you, and it just takes you on a journey, and it's just without doubt the greatest album I've ever listened to. I would highly recommend this. It may take a few listens to get used to because of the style of music. My best mate did, he listened to it and he didn't like it, but after a few listens he finally understood why I was enjoying the album, where I was coming from in terms of the technical side, and then he understood why it was such a great album. And I highly recommend this one. So we got Saliva Every 6 Seconds. I saw these at the Academy as well. Really good live, actually. Really great band. I never really see people talk about this band, but I like them a lot. It's rap rock again. You know, I've got a lot of this stuff because I was really into it at the time. But it's got a harder rock edge. You know, it's got some interesting beats. It's a really good album. Definitely worth checking that one out. So, Papa Roach. So we got Infest, and what was that one called? I love that cover. Look at that. That's brilliant, isn't it? So I can't even bloody read that now. Love, Hate, Tragedy. Which that one was alright. It wasn't a great album. Infest is an absolutely amazing album. At the time when that came out, it blew my socks off, man. That band were awesome. I saw them a couple of times at the Academy, and they were just amazing. Such a good band. Really fun, really poppy rocky, just, you know, rap rock, just full on, just energy, just great band. Love those albums. The red one's not that good, but Infest is brilliant. Next up, we've got a British band who were pretty much shit on at the time. People didn't like them at all, and they used to just slate them. But I was a fan, and I wasn't really that bothered that no one else liked them. And that is a band called Sugar Coma. I think they're from London. So you got Never Born. I think these are like EPs, to be honest, more than albums. Well, that says EP there. So you go, What Goes Around and Blisters. I mean, they were all a bunch of kids at the time. They were just coming out and trying it, but I thought they were really good. I liked them. It's not the best rock in the world, I admit that, but I liked it. So then we got Diso Fluid, Suck Me Dry, and Operation Hypocrite. I saw these, and I believe it was in Wolverhampton in 2002, when I went to see my favourite band at the time, which was Drowning Pool. And this is Sinner, and as you can see, it's signed. This was a really great night. I went to this gig in 2002, saw Diso Fluid first of all, didn't know who they were. They were amazing, so definitely check them out, because the lead singer, she's amazing, she's so good. And then I saw Drowning Pool for the first time live. Man, that was one hell of a night. There's like me and my best mate, we met up with these geezers in there, we didn't know who they were, we just started talking to them. We were all having a few beers, getting a bit drunk, and it was just an absolutely fantastic night. And then after the gig, we all piled around the back, because these geezers were with, they buggered off somewhere. And then they come around the front, I was like, oh, the band's coming out the back, you coming around? I was like, yeah, cool. So we went around the back, and all the band come out, and they're a really nice bunch of blokes. They all come up, signed all the albums, signed jumpers and hoodies and t-shirts and everything. They were there talking with the fans. They were absolutely fantastic. And I've got all the signatures. Unfortunately, Dave, the lead singer, did die a few months later, which really pissed me off, because they were such a great band. I did get to see them at Download, though, before he died, thank God, just before he passed. So that was really tragic, because since then they've had a couple of lead singers come in from different bands. One from Soil, I remember, he was the lead singer. I don't know if he still is or not. It just didn't work. I mean, you can't replace the lead singer as far as I'm concerned, because, you know, every element of the band is what makes the band great. And you can probably get away with changing your bass player. Trying to change your drummer, your guitarist, or your lead singer never really works for me. And especially with this band, because Dave was such a presence, he was just amazing. So yeah, so I'm really chuffed to have that signed album. Fantastic, great memories. And definitely check the album out, Sinner. It's brilliant, Drowning Pool. So then we've got Stone Sour, Come Whatever May, and this is the band that Corey Taylor, the lead singer of Slipknot, was in before he joined Slipknot. And then in the future, as time went on, he went back and he rejoined Stone Sour, so now he does both bands. And I have got their first album as well on digital copy, which I need to get on CD because it's brilliant. I've seen Stone Sour, I believe, twice at the Academy. Both times were just unbelievable. It's so good. I mean, Corey Taylor is just one of the greatest frontmen of any rock group ever. He's one of my absolute all-time favourites. Such a commanding stage presence, such a nice guy. And his vocals are just amazing. And especially when you see him do Stone Sour, because it is rock, it's not metal at all. It's the complete opposite end of what Slipknot is. And he's just, man, some of the songs that they do, the way he puts them across. It's just, yeah, I love Stone Sour. Brilliant band. Okay, so on to the last pile now. And I will stop hitting the tripod at some point. So the next one we've got is like real hard shit. This is like the total opposite end. Cradle of Filth. So we've got Midian, my favourite Cradle of Filth album. Brilliant album. We've got Nymphetamine, which is a really cool album. And then we've got this one, which is Damnation and a Day. So if you don't know who Cradle of Filth are, they're a British goth band. And they are completely extreme and mental and swear a lot. Really dodgy lyrics, but it's really hard to listen to unless you're into it. It takes a bit of getting used to, but they are so good. In particular, this album Midian is a classic. It's just fantastic. It does sound like, when you listen to it, it'll sound like you're worshipping Satan. So that's probably not the best thing in the world. But it is all theatrics. It's not meant to be taken seriously at all. And it's just a classic album. It's great. I got this as a Valentine's gift a long, long time ago. And it's one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given. It's just brilliant. So I would definitely try it. You know, it's not an easy band to get into, but it's definitely worth giving them a try. Next one is a band called Superjoint Vitriol, which I believe was Phil and Selmo's band. I'm not sure, but I think he was in Pantera. I'll probably get corrected if he wasn't, but I believe he was. And I'm sure he did Superjoint Vitriol, and he did another band as well. It's dusty as hell, Jesus Christ. He did a couple of offshoot bands, and this was the one I liked at the time. What's the album called? I can't read it. Yeah, I can't actually bloody read that because it's in weird writing. I actually don't know what... Is that Lethal? Yeah. A Lethal Dose of American Hatred. Oh, nice. Yeah. It's alright. If you know Pantera, you know what to expect. Look at the photograph. Says it all really, doesn't it, I think. Right, I'm just going to change the battery because it's about to go flat. Okay guys, so back again, and next album is OTEP. That's the name of the band, and I believe it's a self-titled album, is it? No, it's not. I can't actually pronounce the name of the album. Subas Tra. I don't know what the hell correct pronunciation is, but there you go. As you can see, it's a bit twisted. Really good album though. I was a massive OTEP fan at the time. OTEP is also the name of the lead singer, and she's just got the most amazing growl. I would absolutely recommend this album, without doubt. It's well worth giving it a shot. Bloody hell, that's good, isn't it? See, he just falls out. Yeah, so there's some of the artwork as well. A really cool CD actually. Brilliant band, definitely want to listen to. Very hardcore, very cool. I'm just trying to think of a really good song to put you onto. Yeah, Blood Pig's probably the main one. So I'll try that. Blood Pigs by OTEP, really great song. And it's very hard, so it's, you know, might take a few listens, but it's a great album. Next up we got The Curse by Atreyu. I don't remember too much about these. I'm just trying to think. There was another band at the time I didn't like, which was like the same sort of style. I don't know why these have got so dusted, all been in the CD rack. Oh. Yeah, they're quite fast, quite not really mainstream, but they sort of look mainstream in their style. But I think they were quite technical as well. Not majorly technical, but just a little bit. Or maybe they just sounded like that and they weren't, I don't know. Anyway, I mean, that cover to me doesn't really represent what the band was all about from what I can remember of the album and the way they looked. So that's a bit of a strange one actually. I don't know why they went for the goth chick vampire thing, but there you go. Anyway, brilliant album, so check that one out. Oh, I didn't realise I got this in there. There you go. So The Dead and the Dreaming, another Dry Kill Logic album. As I said, I don't remember too much about Dry Kill Logic. I just know I liked the band at the time, and they were pretty decent. So I'll probably give it a shot and see what you think. So then we got Therapy, Trouble Gum. I don't know why these have got so dusty. They're all sitting in the CD cases for like years. Weird. Yeah, classic band, Irish band. Fantastic Therapy. You can't go wrong with them at all. And yeah, some really great songs on this album as well. So yeah, Nowhere's probably the one that they're most well known for as far as I'm aware. Really good band. So next up, pretty standard stuff. We've got a bit of Blink 182. So that album is Enema of the State, and is that one is Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. I mean, they're just a poppy punk band. You know, Blink 182 are great. They were inoffensive, just fun. Next up is a band I adore. Got to see these at Download the one year. Dragged my mate over to see them because he didn't know who they were, and I was like, I have to see this band, and we have to go to Download. And it scared the shit out of him because he didn't know what the hell was going on when they came on stage. But I love them, and it is Hatebreed. Perseverance, The Rise of Brutality. The Rise of Brutality is a really great album. Perseverance for me is the better album. It's fantastic. It's really hard to explain their style. It's very screamy. It's quite, I believe, if I remember right, it's quite political as well. There's a lot of motivational stuff which I like about it because it's very screamy. But when you listen to the lyrics, it's very, very motivational. So it's really good artists. Amazing to see them live. I was just absolutely blown away at the time. I didn't think I'd ever get to see them, so when I saw them on the bill for the Download Festival, I was like, I just have to go and see them. I Will Be Heard is the main one that they're known for, so check that one out. Classic song. Yeah, just awesome stuff. I remember playing it to my other friend, who the one I was talking about earlier, with Killswitch Engage. He managed to get into Killswitch Engage, but he did not like Hatebreed at all. He just thought it was noise. But I absolutely adore the band. They're brilliant. And then this is absolutely my favourite band. I've got a lot of favourites, but this is my ultimate favourite. Nothing beats this band. Lacuna Coil. They're an Italian band. Unleashed Memories, one of the greatest albums I've ever bought. Actually, possibly my favourite album out of my whole collection. I absolutely love that album. Then we got In Reverie. Inno Reverie, I don't know how you say it, but there you go. Comalies or Kamalies, I don't know how you say that one. I've got it, I just don't have it on an actual CD, on a physical release. It is a great album, by the way. Everything Lacuna Coil do is amazing, and I was really, really happy because before I left Birmingham, I never got to see this band because they used to always play festivals and I'd play London, and that was all they'd do. And then it must have been a sign, because as soon as I decided to leave Birmingham, they did a gig at the Academy, and it was the last gig I ever went to, and I couldn't have picked a better gig to go to because it was phenomenal. To actually get to finally see them live, it was just the best night ever, and it probably has to rank as one of my absolute favourite gigs that I ever went to. I went to a lot of great gigs, but to actually see my favourite band live was just stunning. I love Lacuna Coil. I don't know what you class their style as. It's not operatic like Nightwish. It's not really... maybe you could class it as gothic, but I really wouldn't. It's just an absolutely beautiful album. You know, just no matter what music you're into, just YouTube, Google, Spotify, whatever, iTunes, check out Lacuna Coil's Unleashed Memories and see what you think, and just give it a try, because it is an absolutely amazing. It's not a really heavy hardcore metal album. It's not even anywhere near that. It's the complete opposite end. It's not pop. It's not hardcore. It's not goth in the terms of Cradle of Filth goth. It's a really, like, I suppose, like in a musical, like a stage show kind of style. It's really hard to explain their style. I'm not very good at this, but this album absolutely deserves a listen by everybody. It's beautiful. Next up, going from that to this is a bit weird, but there you go. Silver Side Up, Nickelback. Everybody hates Nickelback. I don't give a shit. I like Chad Kroeger's music. I ain't got a problem with it. This was a great album. Very poppy. Very easy to listen to. It's a fun album. He does look a tit, but his music's great, so I don't really care. How You Remind Me was the big song that he had at the time. It was the big hit. And, you know, he got played to death. But I like Nickelback. I don't give a shit. They're great band. Godhead. Another gothic band. Dude had remember what, he used to wear a lot of bondage gear, and he had like a bald head, and he painted his face white with black eyes and things. As I said earlier, they were supporting Manson at the Hollywood tour in the NEC, and I was really impressed actually. They did Eleanor Rigby, the Beatles song, they cover that, and I don't like the Beatles at all. I'm not a Beatles fan. Never got the Beatles at all. To me, they were just a boy band. I know it might offend people, but hey, I don't like them. Godhead, their cover of Eleanor Rigby is absolutely fantastic, so go and check that one out. The album's called 2000 Years of Human Error. I mentioned this band earlier because the lead singer joined Draining Pool after Dave passed away. And this is Soil, and the album's called Scars. Really, really cool, fun rock album. Really great sound. Absolutely, there's the lead singer there. Awesome, awesome. Halo is the big song for this band. So check out Halo by Soil. It's just absolutely awesome. It'll rock your socks off. So then we've got Taproot, Gift. I don't remember anything about Taproot. barely remember that the album was decent, but I can't remember what the band were like, to be absolutely honest with you. They look pretty generic, to be honest, looking at the back, but yeah, that's that one. This album I really like. I don't know much about the band, I just bought this album on a whim. And is it just, yeah, it's self-titled, and it's Stabbing Westward. I'm not entirely sure if they're Australian, I can't remember. I've got a feeling they might be an Australian band. Josh, let me know if they are. If you know, that's if you know who they are, because I know you're into like happy hardcore and shit like that. But anyway, Stabbing Westward, brilliant album, really cool. Definitely worth checking this one out. Yeah, I really enjoyed that album actually, it was really good. That cover doesn't represent their style of music though. Again, you know, like a Atreyu, I don't know why they went with that image, but good album anyway. Next up, I think these are a Welsh band if I remember rightly. It's been a long time, called Defenestration, 1 Inch God. I mean, I don't think they were massive at the time, I don't remember them being too big, but I really like their music, and Stitch was the big song for them. I really like the album. I mean, that's indicative of the time with that dude's haircut there. You know, I've done that with the spikes, and I used to do it all over, every little bit of my hair, put into little spikes. You know, the guy with the bleached blonde hair and everything, yeah, classic. But yeah, and she's the lead singer. She's got one hell of a roar on her. Her growl is ridiculous, but yeah, great album, Defenestration, 1 Inch God. Jimmy Eat World. I think they're like poppy, punky type music. Really good band at the time. That's just self-titled, isn't it? What was the song that I used to like of theirs? I think it was The Middle, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I think it was The Middle. Jimmy Eat World are a really easy band to listen to. They're just like your Blink 182s and that. Not as bouncy as Blink 182, but really good band. And then lastly, there is Placebo and Black Market Music. Jesus, look at the state of that. Placebo are a great band. I really like Placebo a lot. This was a really cool album at the time. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. But there you go, those are all the albums I could find anyway. So I just thought I'd give you an overview, and hopefully Matt, that'll give you some ideas of some bands that you might have forgotten about and albums you've forgotten about. You'll have to check them out. And if anyone's watching this and you've got through it, thank you very much. And if you don't know much about the genre of rock and metal, and you're at all interested, give any of those a try, because you know, you never know, you might enjoy them. You know, with all types of music, when you first listen to it, you need to just try and find your groove and just find something to get you into it. As I say, with me, it was Limp Bizkit, because I was really into hip hop and R&B, and that was the perfect, you know, platform for me to transition over into the rock scene. And it worked, and as you can see, I bought lots of albums and went to lots of gigs, drank a lot of beer, got a lot of piercings, had a really great time. My 20s were fantastic, so yeah, that was the best thing I ever did, because in my opinion, metal is the best music. There is nothing better than that. I love a lot of different genres, I pretty much listen to anything these days, I'm not fussy at all, but metal, it's still the music that's just got the energy that it just takes you to another level. You can't beat it at all. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was interesting enough. And any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I look forward to hearing what you think. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos, just click on subscribe. And I'll see you all again soon.